Have you ever wondered why and how the Jewish community, one of the world's oldest and most widespread groups, found a peaceful and welcoming home in India, a country far away from their ancestral land? While much of Jewish history is marked by exile, persecution, and displacement, the story of Jews in India is strikingly different. It's a story of harmony, survival, and cultural fusion. Let's take a fascinating journey through time to understand why Jews came to India, and why many of them stayed. The history of Jews in India dates back more than 2000 years, yes, even before the birth of Islam or Christianity. According to tradition, the first Jews arrived in India after the destruction of the first temple in Jerusalem by the Babylonians in 586 BCE. But the more widely recorded migration came after the destruction of the second temple in 70 CE, when Roman forces crushed the Jewish revolt in Jerusalem. Thousands of Jews were killed or enslaved. In search of safety and religious freedom, some Jews sailed across the Arabian Sea and landed on the shores of Kerala, in southern India. These Jews came to be known as the Cochin Jews. They were welcomed by the local rulers and allowed to settle and practice their faith freely. The Hindu kings of Kerala even gave them land, privileges, and a royal charter inscribed on copper plates, something that's rare in Jewish history. Another Jewish group, the Bene Israel, have a fascinating legend. Around 2nd century BCE, a ship carrying Jewish traders from the land of Israel was caught in a storm and wrecked off the coast of Maharashtra near Mumbai. Only 7 men and 7 women survived. They lost many of their religious texts and traditions, but they kept their Jewish identity alive, especially the Shema, the basic Jewish prayer, and the practice of observing the Sabbath. Over centuries, they assimilated into Indian society, adopting Marathi language and Indian dress, while maintaining Jewish customs. The local communities respected them and referred to them as Shanwar Telis, meaning oil pressers who rest on Saturdays. Over the centuries, more Jews arrived in India, particularly during Islamic rule and European colonization. One group was the Baghdadi Jews, who came from Iraq, Syria, and Iran in the 18th and 19th centuries to cities like Mumbai, Kolkata, and Pune. They were often wealthy merchants and traders, dealing in textiles, diamonds, and opium. Among them were powerful families like the Sassoons, often called the Rothschilds of the East. David Sassoon, for instance, became a major philanthropist and built hospitals, schools, and synagogues in Mumbai. Then there were the Jews from Afghanistan and Bukhara, who came through the northwestern regions of India seeking trade and refuge. You might be wondering, why India? Well, here are the reasons. 1. Religious tolerance. Unlike in many parts of the world, Jews faced very little persecution in India. Hindu rulers, Muslim sultans, and even British colonizers were mostly tolerant or supportive of the Jewish communities. 2. Trade and prosperity. India was a hub of international trade. Jewish merchants found India to be a land of opportunity. 3. Cultural assimilation. Indian society, especially in coastal cities, was a melting pot of cultures. Jews could blend in culturally while keeping their identity intact. 4. Freedom of worship. India allowed Jews to build synagogues, observe their festivals, and educate their children in their faith. At their peak, India had nearly 30,000 Jews. They built beautiful synagogues, some of which still stand today. like the Pardesi synagogue in Kochi, built in 1568, and the Knesset Eliyahu synagogue in Mumbai. They celebrated Hanukkah and Diwali side by side. They read Hebrew scriptures, but spoke Marathi, Malayalam, or Arabic. Indian Jews even served in the military and contributed to the freedom movement. After the creation of the State of Israel in 1948, many Indian Jews emigrated, seeking to reconnect with their ancestral land. By the late 20th century, most of India's Jewish population had moved to Israel, the UK, Canada, and the US. Today, only a few thousand Jews remain in India, mostly in Mumbai, Kochi, and Pune, but their legacy lives on. The Jewish story in India is not one of persecution, but one of peaceful coexistence. In a world where Jewish communities often faced hardship, India was a rare haven. A place where synagogues stood beside temples and mosques, where Jewish festivals were celebrated under coconut trees, and where diversity was not just tolerated, but embraced. India didn't just give Jews a home, it gave them a future.